They want me to do a bell. I've never done a bell here. I've done several. Um, I had to borrow this from my daughter. I sold out of my bells this year already. Um, it's um, it's going to, I'll explain it, but it makes really neat. Looks like you bend the wood and it's really easy to do. Nice little handle, put an eye in it. My quality assurance people and my customers want a stupid little bell in there. I would make it without the bell. I think the bell's cheesy, but that's what everybody wants. Would pass that out. So what I do to start this bell, and I was going to bring a stick, but I glue up a stick 16.5 inches long. And if you picture, this is part of the stick. I laminate. So this would go on here like this. And the stick is long, 16.5 inches. And I laminate all the wood that I want in that piece in there. So there's no bending or curving. Cut them at 45 degrees. This is 2 inches. I don't remember this number. It's whatever you want. I glue two sections together, and then actually my apprentice glues two sections together. I take these two over and I put them on the bandsaw, and then she puts them together on the bandsaw, on the belt sander, and she puts them together and says, no, there's a crack. So I do it again until they fit up, and then the apprentice glues them all back together to a whole block. There you go. And then the block ends up like this. And you could put in the same, that 16-inch board that I glue up. It'll make two full bell ornaments. You cut one and then you cut the next one, and those two don't match, but the next two will match the first two and right on down the line. So you can get the same all the way around. This is the length of the handle that you make, or if you want a longer handle, make a longer handle, whatever you want to do. So the way I make a pile of these, a bucket full, and each step, because there's so many chuck changes and changes and changes, and it don't take long to turn the piece. It's all the changes. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rough out the handle, and then I'll rough out the bell and then turn them. You did pass that square around, right? This is the way I do it. Oh, I want to mention safety. I'm sorry, I skipped the safety. Be safe, no drugs, no alcohol. Don't move your tool rest. Just take your time. Wood turning's enjoyable. If it turns into work, quit doing it. That's the way I am. You people that don't know me, I'm completely, totally blind in the black. I see nothing. Because I have to touch the work so much, I taped into my fingers up because it just burns the skin off my fingers if I don't tape them up. I'm gonna
Box in the square with the chuck.
You don't think so? Feels good to me. Well, now you got me in doubt. No, I think it's okay. So I'm going to use a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. I use bowl gouges mostly. I use a spindle gouge just a little bit. 1/2 inch bowl gouge, round this out. Okay, now I need to put a tendon on the end of this to go on the top of the bell. It's the same kind of tendon system I use when I cut my tendons for my Christmas ornaments. It's the same cutter, turn it around so it's cutting backwards. I do take the drill bit out because I need to drill a little bit hole in the end of this so that the eye screw that holds that little bell in there, because the eye screw screws in this end, it holds that bell in. And I don't want the big hole from the screw that's in here. That drill bit.
Hey, Michael.
Yes.
I'll just want to elaborate on that a little bit for those who have not seen your demo before. But
Uh-huh.
that cutter is like an adjustable circle cutter that you've taken the cutting tip, reversed it, and then you set that diameter to whatever you want your tenon to be, and that's how you cut them.
Yeah.
Makes
And
them standard.
And
Yeah.
when you use it, you just don't feed this into the lathe. You grab a hold of this and put it in the lathe slow, because if that cutter hits it, it's going to spin around and it's going to break and it's going to tear the wood up and everything. You can pass that around too, that drill bit. Okay, so now this is the time I drill this little hole in the end of this thing, which is a pain in the butt. Is another reason I don't like putting the bell in it, because it's a little bitty drill. You gotta get in the middle of the Jacobs chuck with it. Can you see this, Jack? Minus. Okay. There. There. And I don't want to crank it in. I just want to leave it in the that's the way I do it. Leave it in the tailstock so that I can just kind of force it in there just a little bit. Just like that. Okay, now that little thing cut this flare, I need to remove the end of this to reveal it. When I get done here, I'll send it around. You can see what I've done, but I'm going to need it back to finish turning it later. Just pull it back here a little bit. Then I always hit it with a little sandpaper just to get the sharpness out of it. That thing is like a razor blade. Okay, that's what I call roughed out. I'll make a bucket of them and then I'll move to the next step. She's gonna send this around. I want you to send it right back so I can get it back, make sure. So I got a chuck change here. This is a 5-inch set of jaws. And I just take my block, set it in there. Tailstock, run it up, it centers it a little better. Push it all the way to the back of the chuck. Use the 1/2-inch bowl gouge again, just to kind of round this off and shape. This is going to be this end of this block is going to be the top of the bell. 1/2-inch spindle gouge. You want to make the shape of the bell. So the flare is going to be here. This is going to be the top, the dome. You want it however big around you want your bell, but you want to taper it a little bit. That little drill bit. Drill bit.
When I get
No, there's one way, portion of it. Oh, got it right here. Okay, so now we drill a hole. I drilled all the way through. This is the 3/4 inch hole. If you only got 1 inch jaws, use 1 inch. Forstner chuck. My Jacobs. If you only got a 1 inch, drill 1 inch hole. I got 3/4, so I drill 3/4 inch hole. Don't do it like that. That's dangerous to guy with eyes. Half-inch round nose scraper, clean it up. I think I want a little smaller. Whenever I make these, the first one is always a little bigger than I normally want. I don't have any gauges or hit it with a little sandpaper. Some 80, 100, whatever. Some of this isn't going to get near sandpaper again right here at the ends. Man, I have trouble finding that off and on switch. Okay, now that's roughed out. I'll make a bucket of these. Did that handle get back yet?
Yes.
Where's that piece that I'm gonna have trouble with?
What?
This. I'm gonna put this on there. This is gonna be an adapter, so that I can use my 1 inch jaws that I use when I do this. When I go to this stage of the game, I go to my mini lathe. I save the hours on my big Powermatic and go to my chunk mini lathe. Let's do that. The other chuck. So this chuck I dedicate to these handles and my icicles on my ornaments. I've got the end of the jaws rounded off. So I set this in there, and this flange will set right on that rounded jaw.
Do you round those off on purpose, Michael, or is that years of experience? Did you
Uh-huh.
cut them away?
I hit it a half a dozen times with the tool, and I thought, you know, if I round it off with sandpaper, the tools are going to be better. So I took a bastard file and rounded it off in sandpaper, and now with the tool, it sometimes gets too rounded, and I have to take the bastard file and flatten the very end of it. But you guys won't have that problem because you could see. I use my tool, my tailstock all the time. Knock this piece of wood off here. Whoa. Put this back, Jackie. Huh? Okay, now I'm gonna make the handle. Of course, this is the part that goes in the bell. This is the end that gets a little eye in it. Uh, any tools you want, however you do it. This 1/2 inch, no, 3/8 bowl gouge here. I'm going to try to hurry this. I'm getting a little thirsty. Your design is whatever you want. I always leave a little waste block on the end here because that's just the way I like to do it. You don't have to do that. I make the blank big enough so that there's a waste block up here when I get to it. I used to make the handles a little fat. My quality assurance person said, make them thinner. Any way you want to do it. I got this 1/4 inch bowl gouge that I butchered up so I can make this little pointy cut thing here. Now this is the only spindle gouge I use. This is the only thing, all of my stuff I turn, this is the only spindle gouge I use. I back cut it, background it so that I got just a little bit of the bevel showing and this back of the bevel's out of my way. It just lets me maneuver a little better. I'm not good at beads when I do turn them, but that helps when you're turning bead. It helps in a lot of things. Again, you make whatever shape you want. This is that diamond tool, it's carbide, easy wood. Kind of make this like a little baseball bat or whatever. See what it looks like here. Yep, that's what I thought it looked like. Hit it with a little sandpaper before we take that little waste block off. Don't be afraid to use an 80, 100. It's a tool just like this bowl gouge or the spindle gouge. God didn't want you to use them. He wouldn't have made them. Now I want to pare off this little waste block here. I'm going to use the spindle gouge for that. That's a back cut the shank on, or the something like that. Okay. Now we do the 122, 23, 20. And you don't got to spend a lot of time on it. You just got to have sandpaper that's got sand on it. You don't have to make these all curvy, fancy, just make them straight if that's what you want. Especially if you're giving them to relatives or something. I wanted to turn a great big old vessel, hollow vessel, hollowed out. They look, what was that? Get it for me. They wanted this instead. Jacob's Chuck. No, no, yeah, with the whole, no, the wire went. Okay, this is, everyone's seen this. This is what I use on my Christmas ornaments. It's just, I needed a little bitty drill bit. I couldn't find a little bitty drill bit. I found a fish hook with, that was the same shank, cut the hook, the eye off of it and made a little bitty drill bit. Because that eye that I put in the end of this to hang it, has a little bitty hole. And I don't want to do it that way. I need that other life center. So I take a real sharp live center. Put in there, push it up. And put a little dent in the end of it. It rolls, your lathe rolls away sometimes. Put a little dent in the end of it. And then you can just feed this right in there. Again, I don't crank it. I just push it in nice and slow and pull it out. And it's got a hole in it. Chucky. So that's done. Not good, not bad. Yeah. What happened? Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to the my chuck that I make my icicles on my Christmas ornaments with. It's got the 3/4 inch jaws on it. The big life center. Yep. Takes a lot of iron to make one of these little. Okay, so I go in here and expand my jaws.
Hey, Michael, can you hold up just a second? We got to move one camera.
Move it. Oh, because I moved the lathe.
I'm coming behind.
Got it? Okay. All these lights are making it hot up here. Okay. Yeah. I use my live center. That helps line it all up. And it's safe. I filed it several times, yes. Because I hit it with my tools and cut grooves in it. Those are really, when you expand in this piece, if your apprentice didn't glue the four pieces together good, sometimes they pop loose. I bought an extra one in case that happens, but I hope it don't. Pardon?
Fire your apprentice.
I haven't yet, no. And it's real that he asked if I fire my apprentice, my helmet. And I said, no, not yet. She's working out. Okay, let's just round this off here. I can do without that one. Okay, so I'm lazy and I don't want to keep measuring these with calipers and all that. So I've turned me a couple discs and I just set the disc in there. And that gives me the approximate size of that bell that I want. Sometimes I go past it, sometimes I get down to it. It's different. Wow, it's hot in here. Okay, I'm about down to the disc there. Now I want to shape it. Get something that feels like a bell, or sort of. Or you can do all kinds of different artsy fartsy stuff if you're inclined to. Just because I'm trying to hurry here. I'm gonna take this out so I don't run it. Again, this is okay. I got a little off here where it didn't glue up perfect, so I'm gonna go ahead and face that off also. When I glued this piece up, I had a bunch of scrap cut and already planed and sanded and I went ahead and used it because I'm in a hurry. Um, and they were all about the same thickness. If you like that, okay. Usually, if you look at this other bell, I probably got a board in there that's pretty thick. Again, however you want to do it. Half-inch round nose scraper finishes it. Okay, now the hard part, getting the center out of it. Then it's beer 30. I start off with a 1/2 inch, 3/8 inch bowl gouge, spindle bowl gouge. And then when it feels dangerous, I go to my hollowing tool. Sometimes at this point, this leaves the lathe. You don't want to go after it like you're a linebacker or something. You want to baby it. Act like it's fragile. Make it as thin as you want it, as thick as you want it. A hollowing tool. Mhm. So now I go to my handy dandy little hollowing tool. You notice my neck is getting cramped because I'm looking at it so damn hard and I can't see nothing. Whatever my hands are doing, my eyes want to do.
Michael, are you still selling those hollowing tools?
Yes, I am, but I didn't bring any today. I'm riding with Steven and I forgot to bring them. Thought everyone had one by now. Yeah, this is it. You're welcome to come up and look at it. Here, pass it around if you want. I can bring some. I'm gonna go in there reluctantly with this 1/2 inch round nose scraper. I'm gonna try to go nice and slow. Light finger. Watch what you're doing. Now, sandpaper part. I try to make the inside as good as possible. Well, not really as good as possible. I just make it good. There, that got loose. And starting to wobble. See if I can fix it. My chucks are wore out and they back off. And my sponsor is lacking on coming up with more chucks. Okay. Yeah. Is it a hole or a crack? What?
In state.
Oh,
in-
okay, this one here, it's got a little crack. It's starting, the apprentice didn't glue it good, or I tightened it too tight. So I'm gonna take it off of. So it needs more sanding in there. Okay, I'm gonna take it off of here. I'm gonna take it home and I'm gonna make her glue it properly and clamp it. And then I'm gonna put it back on the chuck and finish sanding it. But that needs more sanding on the outside there, but it needs, yep. That's the ideal of it. Putting the top in, glue it on. Huh? Well, fit. Yeah. Yeah, you just glue that in there like that and you got it. Go ahead, you can pass that around.
But
Pass that around. After she glues that, I'll put that back on the chuck and do a lot more sanding on it, and it's all done, turned, everything. Yep. Any questions?
What's your finish, Michael?
My finish is just like all my finishes, wipe on poly. That bell there will get 3 coats of wipe on poly, and then my apprentice will hit it with a coat or 2 of aerosol poly, and it's done.